What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Today we got a special one. I know. Palantir dipped. All the stuff is happening. So I'm going to give you my take on it real quick. Before we start, just a quick special announcement to all my new subscribers. Thank you guys. Thank you for subscribing. I know that, I specifically say you don't have to subscribe, and I really do mean it, but it means a lot that you're voting through the subscribe button there. Straight up, the content I'm trying to create is really based on what I'm trying to do, and I've actually just got a lot of gains in the past year, so I want to share that and make sure that whoever is listening to this, if you feel like that's a strategy you're willing to take yourself, then feel free to use my influence, and hopefully we can all get rich together. So that's really where that's what I'm trying to get across to you guys. So anyway, so let's discuss Palantir real quick. Okay, Palantir dipped like freaking 10% on one day, right? And it's funny because both my pretty much only shares that I hold, both Tesla and Palantir, both dipped pretty much like 10% on that one day. Now, full disclosure, I hold both Tesla and Palantir in my portfolio. So Palantir, why did it dip? Straight up, I think, if you ask me honestly, there's other financial channels. I'll give you like the financial details, but I did look into it, and my honest opinion is that it's just straight up BS. It's just straight up garbage. Usually some algo trading. Probably some people are expecting higher growth than really what is probably should be expected. But that's my take on the dip. Now, the thing is, it really depends on what you're trying to get out of this stock, right? Now, I'm not trying to sell the stock next year or the year after. I'm really holding this until at least 2032, 2033. I think this company is the next Google. I think this company has insane software potential, and in a world that just because of COVID started to turn more into the software and infosec, aka info security side of things, this company is going to be the pinnacle. It's going to be like the vanguard of these kind of companies that are coming out. You'll see more that come out with these kind of offerings. You'll see more that come out with these kind of products. But Palantir is, again, like I mentioned before, purpose built for this kind of stuff. Why it dropped, I think, is because it didn't beat some analyst expectations, and they did say that Q4 is going to have a little bit of a dip in terms of, just their business in general. The funny thing is, if you look at it, right, I think one of the big reasons that one of the analysts mentioned that the government growth only grew by 7%. The funniest part is, if you actually go back to like why Palantir even IPO'd to begin with, they IPO'd because they want to get into the commercial side of things, right? They're not trying to stick with the business side of things. That's sort of their bedrock of their business and how they came up. That was their come up. Now moving forward, they're trying to get to more commercial side of it. So I don't understand why some of these analysts are looking at it being like, oh, you know what? I think it needs to, that's a huge sell rating, right? Personally, I don't care, right? Because I'm looking at it long term, but it's just funny to me, right? And this exact thing, guys, like for those of you who are trying to listen and follow along, this exact thing is what got me super like crazy gains last year. When everything was not hitting, and like people were looking at very minuscule sort of details and saying, oh, because of this, I'm putting a sell rating, or I'm putting a neutral rating or whatever. Like, you guys are not understanding the core competency of this business is not made to be only government. They created new products and new offerings for the commercial sector, right? So, and on top of that, the government side of it was growing, right? And just to address that real quick, when you have any business that addresses or focuses and has some part of their line of business on the government side, you're not going to get crazy growth. That's just stupid of you to expect that it's going to grow like crazy from that angle. So growing 7% to me is actually a good sign, because I've actually worked for I did one contract with the government, and let me tell you, like, doing anything in any crown corporation, any government corporation, is like molasses. It really is. I mean, to be honest, the fact that they had any growth at all is pretty surprising. And you got to keep in mind too, a lot of the government side of the growth that Palantir is focused on is really based on the armed forces, right? A lot of the stuff is armed forces, and some of the bigger contracts is from the armed forces. So you got to take into consideration that the returns that the army or whoever is using Palantir are going to get. One, we're probably not going to see it as a public, right? Because we don't know what they're using it for specifically. Two, it needs time to gestate, right? So they're using it for a very specific reason, right? So you're not going to get, they need to first use it, see that it's effective, and then start recommending Palantir to other wings of the government or other departments and stuff like that. It doesn't work like that in the commercial sector. In the commercial sector, and you know, I've been part of these procurement angles where I've been sitting there and saying, okay, this product is worth this much, and this product costs this much. How much? Like, what are the comparisons? How effective is it for the operation that we're trying to do? In the commercial sector, a lot of it really comes down to what other people are doing. People like to make sure that they're competitive with other, other people in their class, right? So I'll give you an example. I worked for a major grocer, and when I was there, we would constantly say, okay, like our manager would constantly say, okay, what is this X competitor trying to do? Like, what did they use? What did they use, right? So what is industry standard? That kind of stuff. So once Palantir gets to that point, like they're already growing crazy on the commercial side of it, but once Palantir gets to the point where, these names will start asking, okay, what do these guys use? Oh, it's Palantir. Okay, let's take a look at that. I guarantee you that growth is going to be explosive, right? So just keep that in mind. Like, the commercial side of it will 100% grow faster. Even if the government side of it shrinks a little bit, I don't really care, because I mean, it's not really the point of why they IPO'd. They're trying to, or direct listed, sorry. They're trying to get to a point where they can address the commercial side of it first. Now, secondly, like, it's crazy to think this, right? But this is a huge buying opportunity, huge buying opportunity for anybody who's trying to get into this stock in a big chunky way, right? So if you're like, oh man, like I've been sitting on the side waiting for a huge dip, this is a huge dip, huge dip. I mean, another reason why these guys dropped is I think their gross operating margin dropped to like 22% or something from 30%. Guys, like, this company is taking the money that they're getting and trying to reinvest and things like that, right? So you're gonna get these weird fluctuations. You gotta like, if you look at it from a financial angle, right? Whoever you're listening to, try to have a goal. Be like, okay, I want them to do this. Like, for me, for Tesla, for me, that's auto margin, right? So I want them to get at least like 30% on their cars that they're selling, right? But they're pretty close to that. So for me, for Palantir, I'm just looking for commercial growth right now. I don't care about the operating margins or anything. One, because I'm expecting it to kind of be low a little bit, especially in R&D, especially higher, since they're going to spend more time trying to move, like, build on their existing platform that they have more offerings and that kind of stuff. So I'm expecting that, to be honest, right? So for you to look at this at the same lens of something like Google now, it's wrong. But you have to look at it from what Google was way back, right? Or some kind of SaaS company way back. People aren't understanding that this company is basically like Salesforce, Google, all these guys combined in terms of what they offer right now. The problem is they just need to scale that a little bit and have more complex offerings. One more quick thing though. I know that, so I did listen to parts of it. Like, I really forward a lot of the earnings call, but I'm gonna tell you, man, like, it was a little boring, right? But honestly, since when were earnings calls like really entertaining? Honestly, this whole like Tesla earnings call situation drew a huge crowd to listening to earnings calls. I know that for sure. If you listen to any other earnings call other than Tesla's before Elon did this thing, they're really boring. So and very often sound scripted. So I would say, if you're really interested, go for it, but just wait for the reports to come out and see what, like, set a goal for yourself and see what, floats your boat from those reports that come out. That's all really I gotta say about that earnings call. It was a little boring though. Anyway, last point though, full disclosure, I actually only bought around 200 shares for Palantir during this dip. I am absolutely killing myself. Like, I'm slapping myself. Like, it's really frustrating, to be honest. I can't buy anything right now. I'm basically sitting on a bunch of cash. Long story short, it's tax season for me. I got to do some payroll. I employ like 3 people. I got to do some payroll. On top of that, a lot of the bigger contracts that I own for like my own work, my business, is coming up for either renewal, or they're gonna basically kick me to the curb. So I need to prepare for the next few months. So I'm actually pretty pissed that I can't buy anymore. But let's just say, if I had, this is not investment advice, right? But let's just say if I had like a ton of money, and my contracts were long dated, and I was able to secure those fine in a good way, or secure those, I would 100% load up on Palantir stock. The funny thing is, Kathy Wood actually bought like 1.5 million shares. So I mean, like, you know, guys, like, read through the lines here a little bit, okay? Don't be too scared. Set a goal for yourself. Look at what you expect out of this company from the earnings and all this stuff, and make sure you chart that. Make sure you plot that out and say, okay, this is going according to my plan. But that's all I got to say about this, guys. I mean, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm really not concerned at all. This is actually a massive buying opportunity. I'm really waiting. I'm hoping that it goes even further down in the next year. I'm gonna see if I can put in a whole bunch in like January, February. So that's what I'm gonna do. Let me know what you guys think. I'm out. Peace.